More concerns surrounding vaping and e-cigarettes. A man accused of purposely sabotaging an airplane is being accused of sympathizing with terrorists. And in sports, Ohio volleyball is playing right now. We'll have the latest from the match in sports. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening and welcome to Newswatch, your source for all news impacting southeastern Ohio. I'm Spencer Charlton. Thanks for joining us. The number of vape-related illnesses continues to rise. The CDC released new figures Thursday saying there have now been 530 confirmed and probable cases of lung issues linked to e-cigarettes. That is 150 more than what was reported just last week. Health officials are trying to define a clear cause for connection between cases. Vaping-related illnesses have been linked to 7 deaths. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is working with the Trump administration to find a solution to the mass shooting epidemic. Manchin met with Attorney General Bill Barr yesterday, and he said the meeting was productive, but still is not certain what Trump's stance on gun control is.
We're very encouraged that the dialogue is still continuing, and we hope to see something positive. So it's up to the president now to see what he's comfortable with and what he decides to go forward with.
According to Manchin, the next step is for Attorney General Barr to take the ideas he heard on the Hill back to Trump. The iconic giant pawpaw costume is missing. That's according to the event's Facebook page. The page says the costume was last seen at Lake Snowdon either late last Saturday night or Sunday morning. Although the post read as a joke, organizers say they are taking the missing costume very seriously because, quote, a lot of people enjoyed the pawpaw over the years. Now over to Adlai with our first look at weather.
Hello, I am forecaster Adlai Carwish here, and taking a look at your weather right now, it's a nice 84 degrees outside. This is the hottest it will get today. It was still quite hot, but it was a lot better than most days, as most days were pretty warm, were pretty hot outside. Taking a look now, the humidity is only at 35%, so it actually is pretty dry for the day itself. 84 degrees, humidity at 35%, winds to the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. You take a look now at the area, Athens at 85, Ripley at 85, Jackson at 85 as well, so all around in the 80s or so. And let me tell you, Spencer, it has been sunny and warm for the past so many days that it's just been nice to enjoy this week. But rain is finally coming.
You know, for once in my life, Adlai, I'm really hoping that rain actually does come, cool off these nice hot temperatures we've been having. As Kentucky prepares for its next gubernatorial election, Democratic candidate Andy Beshear is releasing his tourism plan. Beshear released his plan today. It calls for new marketing campaigns focused on attracting tourists from nearby states. He says marketing efforts should emphasize all of Kentucky's scenic attractions. Beshear is challenging Republican Governor Matt Bevin. An abortion clinic in Toledo has stopped performing surgical abortions. Capital Care Network of Toledo is now only performing medication-induced abortions as it undergoes management change. The clinic gave up its license to the Ohio Department of Health last week. This was the city's last surgical abortion chamber to close. However, a pro-choice group tweeted out that the measure to halt surgical abortions is only temporary. It is not known if the clinic will reapply for the right to perform surgical abortions again. The Ohio Fire Marshal's officer is currently investigating a house fire in Guernsey County. The fire killed a 42-year-old man and his 5-year-old daughter. The Daily Jeffersonian reports those killed in the blaze as Steve and Lydia Myers. Myers' other daughter, who is 7, received treatment at an Akron hospital for injuries described by authorities as serious. Myers' wife was also taken to a hospital for treatment. The status of both Myers' daughter and his wife has not yet been released. A man facing a felony charge after leading law enforcement on a high-speed chase across multiple counties. Court records show 47-year-old Stephen Wolf was charged with assault yesterday in Licking County. Documents say Wolf fled a state trooper who tried to stop him in Wyandotte County and drove through multiple counties before being arrested in Coshocton. A man arrested earlier this month is a prime suspect in over a dozen break-ins. His target? Taco Bell. Josh Logue was arrested in connection to a string of break-ins at Lexington Taco Bells. Logue is a former Taco Bell employee and is the prime suspect in over 3 dozen Taco Bell break-ins across Ohio and West Virginia. In the break-ins, Logue is believed to have only stolen cash. California and the federal government butt heads over emission laws, and a mechanic who sabotaged a plane accused of sympathizing with terrorists. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
On country music, a new sound comes out of California.
I think for me, Merle Haggard all by himself saved country music.
Loretta Lynn brings a fresh perspective to country.
Whatever's in that woman's heart comes out her mouth.
And Charlie Pride blazes a trail of his own.
Once they heard me sing, I don't care if he's green, I like his singing.
When country music continues.
Charlie Pride wanted to become the next Jackie Robinson.
Playing in the Negro League, the guys heard my voice and they said, man, you make a lot of money singing. You sing pretty good.
Instead, he became the first black country music superstar.
He sang it so much better than so many of the good country artists at the time.
Here's an angel, good morning.
Look for Charlie Pride
The Jackie Robinson of country music.
on American Masters.
Here's an angel, good morning.
For years after the massacre, horses would rear and wouldn't go near the spot where those bodies lay.
15 men were taken out in the hours of darkness, lined up against a bluff, and executed.
Porvenir is the last of a long set of killings.
Who did the shooting? Who did the most effective cover-up?
I was a highwayman.
They were the country music supergroup that drove us wild, the Highwaymen.
Let's go to Lipton, Texas.
Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson.
Icons of American music.
Look for their story.
I loved them all like brothers.
The Highwaymen, friends till the end.
For me, it was heaven.
On American Masters.
Bond is denied for the mechanic accused of trying to sabotage an American Airlines flight, and he will remain in custody until trial. That's according to a judge who says the suspect may sympathize with terrorists. John Lawrence reports.
A bombshell during Wednesday's bond hearing for Abdul Majid Maroof Ahmed Alani. Prosecutors said the airline mechanic forwarded a terror video from his phone to another person. Experts worry about copycats.
Whether or not this fellow is really involved with ISIS or not, now ISIS and other would-be terror groups have this possibility in mind.
Prosecutors also claim the 60-year-old wrote, "Allah, we ask you to use all your might and power against non-Muslims."
Why does it take the prosecutors to say he's an ISIS member? Why doesn't he stand there and say, I did it for the cause of God, I'm a member of ISIS? This is confusing, this one.
Alani is charged with willfully damaging, destroying, disabling, or wrecking an aircraft. Authorities say he tampered with a system that collects data like a plane's speed.
You have to know how fast the plane is going to do a successful takeoff. It's a very dangerous malfunction.
The July 17th flight from Miami was aborted with no injuries reported. Alani had been with American Airlines since 1988.
They do a criminal search and they also do drug testing. But once you're behind the lines, once you're in the business, unless you show signs of something going wrong, you're kind of trusted.
The carrier has fired Alani and says it's cooperating with the investigation. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
According to court documents, Alani said he didn't mean to harm passengers, but rather was upset with a contract dispute and hoped his tampering with the plane would lead to overtime pay. As of now, he's not facing any terror-related charges. The Trump administration is taking steps to make vehicle emission standards universal at a federal level. That means standards imposed by states, like California, will be null and void. Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao spoke about the administration's plans today.
The one national program that we are announcing today will ensure that there is one and only one set of national fuel economy standards as Congress mandated and intended. No state has the authority to opt out of the nation's rules.
California's Clean Air Act waiver allowed it to set vehicle emission standards that are more stringent than the federal standards. Because more than a dozen states have signed on to California's levels, they've become the de facto nationwide standards for car manufacturers. The immigration court backlog now exceeds 1 million cases. That's what a data group from Syracuse University is reporting. Immigration courts have been bogged down over the years as more cases are added to the docket than can be addressed at any given time. President Trump has repeatedly criticized the nation's immigration system, specifically taking issue with the practice of releasing immigrants while they await their court dates. The Justice Department cannot confirm the report, saying, quote, "The department does not certify data from third parties." In other immigration news, the Interior Department is transferring 560 acres of federal land to the Army for border wall construction. 5 parcels in Arizona, California, and New Mexico will be used to construct 70 miles of the barrier along the U.S.-Mexico border. The Department of Defense is diverting an estimated $3.6 billion in military construction funds to help build the wall. Massive flooding hits Texas. That story still to come.
And also later on, take a look at the weather. It's going to be nice for the weekend, but rain is coming up next week. And here is a look at your stats of local interest.
On country music, a new sound comes out of California.
I think for me, Merle Haggard all by himself saved country music.
Loretta Lynn brings a fresh perspective to country.
Whatever's in that woman's heart comes out her mouth.
And Charlie Pride blazes a trail of his own.
Once they heard me sing, I don't care if he's green. I like his singing.
When country music continues.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Who in blazes are you?
Frankie Drake. I'm a private detective. Do you ever solve cases the coppers can't?
It's my specialty.
30 feet, 2.5 down. Program alarm.
It was the freedom of being who you were, not feeling that somebody was going to judge you. These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
Coming up on the next Song of the Mountains. Lively performances where old tradition meets new, here on Song of the Mountains.
For years after the massacre, horses would rear and wouldn't go near the spot where those bodies lay.
15 men were taken out in the hours of darkness, lined up against a bluff, and executed.
Porvenir is the last of a long set of killings.
Who did the shooting? Who did the most effective cover-up?
There's major flooding in parts of the Lone Star State. High water is being reported in and around Winnie, Texas. The flooding is taking up homes and businesses. According to Chambers County emergency management officials, an evacuation order was put in place for Riceland. Some roadways are already shut down due to safety concerns, and local officials issued a statement on Facebook saying people outside of the Winnie area should stay away. The Red Cross has opened a flood shelter to help those affected. And now let's go to Adelaide for another look at our weather.
And yeah, we've been getting quite the opposite here in Athens compared to Texas. Let's just take a look at the headlines. It's going to be two good temps for the week, but rain is coming. High pressure is moving out. We'll move forward to the to right now, 84 degrees, humidity at 35%, pressure at 30.12 inches, winds to the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. So it's been a pretty warm day so far. Hopefully it will stay like that for the weekend. Right now in all the air in all of southeastern Ohio, Chillicothe at 83, Columbus at 83 as well, New Lexington at 84. So really 85 to 83 is really the main thing you want to look at here. Tonight we're going to get really low, 59 degrees. It's pretty cold outside. That's due to really no clouds, so really no hot air really stays. It all leaves 59 degrees is the low, mostly clear. Dew point at 54, so there shouldn't be that much. Winds to the southeast at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Tonight all around, again, everyone in the 50s, except for Columbus, Chillicothe, and Jackson. They seem to be in the 60s. Columbus at 63, Chillicothe at 62, and Jackson at 61. But everyone else, enjoy the 50s. Tomorrow, 81 degrees, and enjoy your nice day. Enjoy your Friday. It's a beautiful day outside, only 81 degrees. You deserve it for a tough week. We've all had tough weeks. This one is definitely worth it, 81 degrees. It's a nice day. Moving forward, we're all southeastern Ohio, and again, beautiful all the way. Columbus at 84, New Lexington at 81, Ripley at 85. So 81 to 85 is really the temperature range there. And let's take a look at your weekend weather. All around the area. Friday night, 62 degrees, and it's a great night. Saturday, 85 degrees, a beautiful day. We'll get into Saturday a little bit here coming up. Sunday, 86, but it is a little windy, and Sunday night is when the rain will start. This is a precip map Friday, and that high pressure system right there is really what's keeping this weather nice and clear. It's been around all week throughout the time, and it's really been the one that's keeping all the weather. This is Saturday as well. It's still there, but it'll start to move out on Sunday, and that's when we start to get the rain. And for OU football, 74 degrees at 11 a.m. for the tailgaters, and nice time for kickoff, 81 degrees, and by the end of the game, it's going to be 85, but nice 7-day outlook here. All around, we talked about the weekend. Monday's when we're going to see the rain, and rain for most of the week, actually, with lows in the 50s. I'll send it back to you, Spencer.
Thanks, Adlai. A new study shows hand sanitizer might not be as protective against germs as you think. For example, if you blow your nose and put hand sanitizer in your hands, it probably won't kill all cold and flu bugs. The study says it's because your fingers are still wet with mucus. Researchers found that hand sanitizer doesn't kill the flu virus unless it's left on for a full 4 minutes. The results of this new study, however, go against many other studies, showing ethanol-based disinfectants are effective against the spread of germs. Experts are weighing in on how plant-based milk stacks up against cow's milk for kids. New health guidelines say most children under 5 should avoid plant-based milk. This is because milk made from rice, coconut, oats, or other blends may not have the key nutrients kids need in their early developmental stages. Kids should also avoid diet drinks, flavored milks, sugary drinks, and limit how much juice they drink. The recommendations come from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, the American Academy of Pediatric Dentistry, the American Economy of Pediatrics, and the American Heart Association. We all want to look our best, but experts say there are 5 bad habits you may be doing that can make you appear older. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more.
Stopping wrinkles starts at night. The first thing you should do to prevent aging, sleep on your back.
Stomach sleepers and side sleepers in the middle of the night on the pillow, you're getting actually a pulling of your skin that over time can form wrinkles prematurely.
Northside Hospital Gwinnett's Dr. Barbara Joy Jones also says nighttime is the right time to nurture your eyes. Part of that, putting down the cell phone so they aren't strained any further, and
under your eyes is the thinnest skin on your entire body, and so you want to make sure that you put a good eye cream and moisturize underneath.
I was going to say, I'm on 1. We're on 1 for...
In the shower, you will actually deplete your skin of its moisture and water. And so when you're taking showers, make sure that they're lukewarm to warm.
Stress will aid you more than anything, Jones says. Find ways to lessen stress before bed, which brings up the next point, getting a good night's sleep.
When you don't get enough sleep, the blood vessels actually become leaky. And so therefore you show it on your face in the form of under eye circles and swelling and dark circles and bags.
Changing bad habits now can help bring good health in the future. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Moisturizing your face and body, another important thing to do to keep your skin looking younger and healthier. Now let's take it over to Paul.
Yeah, Spencer, I'm Paul Roth, and today in sports, the Ohio football team is looking to move on after a close loss to Marshall. Plus, the Ohio soccer team also looks to pick up a win in Washington, D.C. Next on Newswatch. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Coming up on the next Song of the Mountains. Lively performances where old tradition meets new here on Song of the Mountains.
This month in Passport, your on-demand library of the best of PBS.
Who in blazes are you?
Frankie Drake. I'm a private detective. Do you ever solve cases the coppers can't?
It's my specialty.
3 feet, 2.5 down. Program alarm.
It was the freedom of being who you were, not feeling that somebody was going to judge you. These and other shows are available with Passport. Go to pbs.org/getpassport and find out how you can start streaming today.
For years after the massacre, horses would rear and wouldn't go near the spot where those bodies lay.
15 men were taken out in the hours of darkness, lined up against a bluff, and executed.
Porvenir is the last of a long set of killings.
Who did the shooting? Who did the most effective cover-up?
America's top critics are raving about the new film from Ken Burns, the most ambitious, culturally resonant music documentary ever made.
Country music is truth-telling.
A fascinating journey, illuminating and engrossing.
Country music comes from right in here.
Hugely entertaining, a joyful celebration.
It has something in it for everybody.
From director Ken Burns, country music. Binge all episodes now with Passport.
Welcome back, I'm Paul Roth. The Ohio University volleyball team is back in action after winning all 3 of their matches at the Bobcat Invitational last week. They're currently in Texas taking on New Mexico. Now that game got started a couple hours ago and is part of the North Texas Challenge, a 4-team tournament the Bobcats are a part of. They'll also face off with Kansas State tomorrow and North Texas on Saturday. And while the trip down to Texas is a far one, it's actually a homecoming for some of the players as well as head coach Dean Webb.
We're really looking forward to getting in a couple of our players' homes. We're going to get to have a meal at Lizzie's, get to have a meal at Emily Walsh's home. And so that's always a great thing. And then it's also our first trip that we're only playing 1 match per day. And so you don't have to worry about, okay, we're playing twice today. What do we have to worry about, as far as our lineup, as far as personnel, as far as people being tired.
And after a couple of tough losses last weekend, the OU soccer team will be in the U.S. Capitol taking on Georgetown. The Bobcats were 6-0 and rolling before those 2 losses against Robert Morris and Ohio State. Now the Hoyas have had the opposite start to their season, starting off 2-2-1, but have been red hot as of late, winning 3 straight coming into this contest. Now the Bobcats need a bounce-back win to get back on track, but Coach Aaron Rodgers says that won't change how they prepare going into this one.
We're going to play our style because when we get into conference, we're going to play our style. And so obviously everything that we're doing up to now is to prepare for the MAC. And so for us, just stay true to who we are and make ourselves better and better and become more confident.
And staying with the weekend action, it's another Saturday in September, which means we will be blessed with more football. The Ohio football team returns home to play the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana. The Bobcats fell in a close one on the road at Marshall last Saturday, but still have a lot of positives to build on from that game. Quarterback Nathan Rourke returned to form as he looked solid, throwing for over 200 yards as well as another 100 on the ground. And head coach Frank Solich knows it's positives like that the team needs to build on moving forward.
At the positives, and there are a lot of positives from these games, first 3 games. You look at some of the things that we need to do better, and you address that with them, and you know they're anxious to get those things corrected and move on.
Now from the football field to the baseball diamond, the Cleveland Indians picked up a much-needed win last night. The Tribe are still fighting for a playoff spot, just a half game out of the last wild card, and that's why they needed this one from Yasiel Puig. The extra inning hit off the wall in right field was all they needed to drive in Bradley Zimmer, and the Indians walk it off against Detroit 2-1. They'll close out the series with the Tigers tonight at 7:15. And sticking with the baseball, the Reds also picked up an extra inning win last night as well. They were at Wrigley Field facing the Cubs for the final game of a 3-game set. Now top of the 10th inning, and Reds shortstop Jose Iglesias, already having himself a heck of a night, ropes one down the right field line to drive in the game-winning run. 3-2 Reds. And you know, Spencer, even though they're out of the playoff hunt, it's still nice to see the Reds picking up some wins late in the season.
You know, I really love to see that too, Paul. Thank you. And, you know, speaking of Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Zoo and the Cincinnati Opera came together on Wednesday to bring a special treat to children with diabetes. Taking into account their special sensory needs, the zoo hosted a sensory-friendly opera performance. It was a dress rehearsal for the sold-out Wednesday evening performance. Megan Mitchell reports.
Mom of 4, Nicole White, loves animals, and so do her kids. But it's her youngest, 4-year-old Kate, who brought them through the gates at the Cincinnati Zoo.
So Kate loves music, and so when I got the email about this event, I thought it would be great to bring her to this, and we also come to the zoo quite a bit with her.
Kate has Down syndrome, and the zoo held a special Cincinnati Opera performance this morning, making it accessible for those with developmental disabilities. Today's performance took into account the sensory needs of visitors and a guide to help audience members follow along easier.
Having that open access, sensory-friendly environment is really important to us. I mean, as parents, we know how to manage that, and it's just, are we able to do that in an environment that allows us to do that? And sometimes we don't have that capacity.
Not only is the entire performance modified, but right when you walk in, there's a table that has sensory bags to take that inclusiveness up to the next level and make sure that every family and their kids feel safe and welcome.
Sensory bags that have noise-canceling headphones or pinwheels or sunglasses.
Howeller says it can also be hard for families dealing with stares while out in public. Zoo employees are trained for these situations and help create a warm, welcoming space.
Not only is this like a learning moment for the individuals and kiddos with developmental disabilities, but it's a learning moment for everybody that visits our zoo.
An initiative to make the arts and animal sightseeing available to every family.
And welcome back. Let's take one final look at the weather today. Tomorrow, 81 degrees, and it's a fantastic day. Enjoy your Friday. It's almost the weekend. Just make it through here. The weather will be right by your side. 81 degrees, nice day. Winds to the south-southwest at 0 to 5 miles per hour. And the 7-day outlook here, it's looking pretty nice for the weekend as well. Friday we already talked about. Saturday and Sunday looking pretty good. 85, 86 if you're going to the OU game. It's definitely a game to go to. It's just one of those days where you're just having one. Monday, it's going to be rainy, only 76, but then you take a look at the lows, 52, 53, 58. It's in the 50s, which is going to be one of those days. 78 and 82 Wednesday, Thursday. Spencer, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Adley. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Spencer Charlton. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Thanks for watching.